Tired of bloating, fatigue and sluggish digestion? Meet your gut's new best friend, NutriHealth 365's microbiome supplement. Restore balance, boost immunity, and feel amazing from the inside out. Smart delay release capsules, real results. Gut health just got personal.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this morning's episode of Trending. Today, we're going to talk about Tony Blair. He's pushing digital ID all over again. HMRC, essentially the UK government, are now allowed to access your bank account and steal your money. Amazon are closing down all of their very dystopian fresh food stores in London, and also an author in the US has been cancelled for speaking the truth. Good morning, welcome to Trending. Thanks for watching, wherever you're watching, or indeed if you're listening to this. As always, it's brought to you in association with NutriHealth 365. The link is in the description below. I've gone for a blue look today, but it's kind of, I keep catching my eye in the monitor, and I basically think that I look like one of those NHS orderlies. You know, the porters that just walk around the hospital all day pushing generally elderly women in beds. I've got that kind of blue hospital look. It wasn't intentional, but here we are. Okay, so we're going to kick off with Tony Blair. He's back from knocking about with Satan. I assume the Lake of Fire is, maybe a little bit too hot even for him this time of year. So this is from the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. It's never good change. Time for digital ID, a new consensus for a state that works. It is time for digital ID, is it? I thought it might be. The British public is running out of patience with a state that does not work, where interactions with public services are beset by inconveniences and delays, even as outcomes slip and costs rise. So, selling dystopia through convenience, which, I'll be honest, it's not a new trick, is it? It's how they do it. That's how they make the whole cashless thing more palatable. You can just go, boop, how easy is that? And then the next thing, it's just an ID card to get in somewhere. Boop, then you can get in there. That's good, isn't it? Why not put the chip in your hand? Boop, and you don't even have to do anything. Oh, I'll tell you what, why don't you have it so it just reads your face? And then you can just literally walk in. You don't have to even boop, because booping's really hard work, isn't it? So you literally just walk. It's great, isn't it? But I don't think that's why they're doing it. I don't think they want to do it for convenience. That's how they're getting you to do something that's not good for you. Citizens are rightly expecting the government to deliver common sense solutions. Best of luck with that. Jeez Louise. Or make way. Okay, so come up with a fix or bugger off, basically. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because they're all the same. Digital ID is one such solution, and there is a massive political upside for those who embrace it. Build a system that works and voters will respond. Utter nonsense. People don't want it, mate. They don't want it. And, this is one of those things, actually, which is, and it's encouraging me massively, it's actually aligning different factions. Because obviously, it's the same in the US. If you're watching in the US, I'm sure you know, and I guess you could apply it all over. But in the UK particularly, it's quite a fractured society at the moment, which is why they're pushing digital ID now. That's not lost on me, that fact. And it won't be lost on the behavioural scientists in Whitehall either. I was talking about this on the Gareth Wright Tonight show yesterday. That's why I think they're going for it now. Because they know that people need to unite to oppose digital ID. And they're looking and going, I don't know if these buggers are going to unite. Well, I hope they're wrong. Because we need to. It's massively important. The media is gaslighting, because it's not just the Tony Blair Institute saying that people are wanting this. The media is polling, and political commentators and even MPs are talking about the fact that people are on board with digital ID, when that couldn't be further from the truth. But the problem is they know that for some inherent reason, I don't subscribe to this, but people want to fit in. No one wants to be an outsider, really. No one wants to be a pariah. They just kind of, okay. Perfect example, last week when we shared the story of the Green Party, or the Green Party councillors in Bristol, who got up and walked out because someone dared to say something they deemed to be derogatory against trans people. So rather than listening to their constituents, they got up and walked out, because that's what you do when you're an elected representative. Anyway, if you watch that video, and we pointed it out in the show, one or two people get up and they walk out, and then you could see others and then they go. And there was one guy, and it was quite embarrassing. He kind of clung on to the end, and then he sort of went as well. And it's like, yeah, because you want to fit in. You want to fit in with your tribe, with your club. And so when they tell you that people want this, what they're really doing is saying, if you don't want this, you're an outsider, don't you? You know you're not in the club. You know you're a bit weird. You do know that, don't you? That's what they're trying to say to people. So then people will just go, oh, okay, yeah, fine. Okay, I'll accept it. Well, if everyone else wants it, they don't. Trust me, they don't. And they did the same because they want you to feel like you're in the minority massively. Because if you're in the minority, one, that goes against what I've said, that, that kind of desire to belong. But it also makes you feel like it's an inevitable loss. It's like walking out on a football pitch against 11 footballers and turning around and they're going, oh, you do know that there's only 2 of you. Oh, well, I've lost then, haven't I? Before the ball's even been kicked. When that's not actually true at all. You just can't see the other 9 players that are all there waving, going, no, dude, I'm with you. I do love a football analogy, but that one wasn't particularly great. But you get my point. And they did the same with COVID, didn't they? I don't know what it was like in the US with numbers, but in the UK, I remember it vividly because it was the 5 million unvaccinated. And they're all having these debates. What are we going to do about the 5 million? What are we going to do about them? Oh, what a problem. And so, oh yeah, in America, you offered them burger and chips, didn't you? That was it. Get a free burger and chips. Who could forget that? But in Britain as well, they try to incentivize stuff. You won't be able to go to the pub if you don't. You won't be able to go here. You won't be able to go there. I won't be allowed to go into the pub where all the divs are sat in masks. That's fine. I'll live with that, mate. But actually, in truth, it wasn't 5 million. They said 5 million because it made people believe that, well, I'm in a minority then. 5 million out of the best part of 70 million. Okay, we're outnumbered pretty heavily here. And then a government official, and I always forget her name, she let it slip on live television that it was 20 million. Now, that's a big difference, ladies and gentlemen. And as soon as that happened, the 2 bobbleheads in suits didn't say anything, because it wasn't on the auto cue. But everyone else that had a brain went, hang on. All we've been hearing is 5 million. It's been on front page of the news. What we're going to do about the 5 million? Front page of the papers and stuff. Suddenly they're saying 20. Well, 20 out of 70 million. Yeah, it's still a minority. As I said a couple of days ago when I was talking about this similar thing. It's like, but it's a big minority, isn't it? 20 million is a lot of people. And it's the same thing here. I'll get back to the story now. A modern digital ID does 3 things. It allows people to prove who they say that they are, who they say they are, prove that certain things about them are true, they're doing as they're told, and seamlessly and securely access services on that basis. Yeah, so you're not allowed to access services if you're not. Not if you're not who you say you are, but if you don't do as you're told. Then this is the bit where the lady doth protest too much. Far from reflecting the papers, please, caricature of an ID card, well, like you literally did during COVID. Digital IDs is a foundation of a new system that brings fairness. Everything's inverted. Brings fairness, control. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, at least they're honest about that bit. But just not control for you, control for them. And convenience, there we go again. To everyone's everyday interactions with each other and with the state. Now, this is all coming from, I'll be honest with you, I don't think the World Economic Forum are the head of the snake. I think there's people above them that you wouldn't even be able to pick out in a lineup. But let's pretend that they're a significant role, which they are, to be fair. Even if they're the belly of the snake, still pretty big. They feed then into Tony Blair. He can be the balls of the snake. And then that goes down then into Labour Together and Keir Starmer, who Tony Blair's the balls, then I guess they're the... I don't know. Starmer might like that, to be fair. So there's with the Tony Blair Institute with this, they're going with the convenience approach rather than the immigration approach, which obviously others are using, the government's using. But it's the same thing because Tony Blair is the dude that opened the borders. So he opens the borders. So he's selling convenience, but he's the one that opened the borders in the late 90s, which then the Tories just made it even worse and worse. And you had the huge Boris Johnson wave, which no one really wants to talk about, a massive wave of immigration. And then his protege, Keir Starmer, comes in, and his solution is we need digital ID to fix the mass immigration. What, the mass immigration that the guy you fluff for a living created? As my dad would say, problem, reaction, solution. The other thing I keep hearing about digital ID, with those that are sort of poo-pooing it, because it's got bipartisan support, so that should tell you all you need to know, is that the infrastructure is not there, basically. And I was pointing out again in the show yesterday that they spent £37 billion on a track and trace app that no one ever used during COVID. It was pointless. And it was said that what a waste of money. They spaffed it up the wall. Well, no, they didn't, though. They planted it for today, not for yesterday. So actually, all this system is in place for them to go, when they want. And, if you don't think, well, we'll come to the next story about this, but if you don't think they'll wield the power once they've got it, we live in an authoritarian state anyway. You give the state even more power to basically block people from society if they don't do as they're told. And you're going to tell me that they're not going to use that? Of course they are. And they'll use crisis to do it, like they did during COVID. Look, it's a pandemic. We don't want to ban everyone from everything and lock everyone in their houses and say you need to get vaccinated to get your life back and wear a mask to go and buy essential items and all that nonsense. We don't want to do that, but we've got to. We have to, because of this pandemic, it's crisis. They can create a crisis whenever they want. So that's all they'll do. If people accept this, then they'll create this system's all set up, and then they'll just wait. And then they'll go, we waited long enough? Yeah, go on then. Crisis, what is it? Massive cyber attack. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we've got to do X, Y, and Z. What about war? Yeah, terrorism? Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Another pandemic? Go on. The last one was a laugh. Climate change? Yeah, we'll do some wildfires, something. Use some direct energy weapons. They won't know. They won't. Make sure you've got a blue roof and you'll be fine. Just put my t-shirt on it. And each crisis will give them even more control over you. And your little box that you live in will get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller with each one. Because when they take these, emergency powers, and give them back. It doesn't work like that. Honestly, once this gets in, if it's allowed to get in, it's a bit of a game changer, folks. I think it would have them on the last lap towards the finish line, to be honest. And we need to fight digital ID with every fibre of our being. And I keep saying it all the time. This is why they've chosen now, because they see us as divided and they see us as weak. They see us fighting against each other about, whatever. Are you a Muslim? Oh, I must hate you then. Rather than just going, guys, just think. Why does the state and the state media, why do they want us to hate each other? Because they don't want us with our eyes on the prize, with our eyes on the real enemy, which is the enemy of all of us, no matter what part of society we identify as, whatever we consider our tribe to be. But the other thing to take from this as well is, and this is to people that feel like there's an inevitability about digital ID, which is a few people, to be fair, is if they could enforce digital ID, if they could just go, if Keir Starmer could step on stage on Sunday or Saturday, whenever it is, and go, we're bringing in digital ID, nothing you can do about it. If he could do that, he would. And so he wouldn't be gaslighting everyone, trying to persuade everyone to accept it. If he had to force you to accept it, he wouldn't be persuading you to accept it. So people just need to say no, and they need to say no en masse. Now, this story, I'll do these stories together and then we'll move over to iconic.com. HMRC agents visiting homes of people before seizing money from their bank or ISA. This is just the beginning. We haven't even got digital ID in yet. HMRC could be set to access UK households' bank accounts and ISAs if you haven't paid taxes. HMRC will now have the power to take money directly from the bank accounts of those who haven't paid a tax bill. What if you don't have the money? What if that's the reason you're not paying your tax bill? Which, I'll be honest, will be the reason a lot of people aren't paying it, because I haven't got it. Because you've made everything so bloody expensive that I can't afford it. And I go, do I give the government more money to send over to Volodymyr Zelensky, or do I buy groceries? What if you don't actually owe the money? I'm not sure any of us owe the money, to be honest. But what if it's a mistake? HMRC makes mistakes all the time where people will get a tax bill and they'll go, what the heck? I don't owe that. That's mental. Oh, so I'm taking it now. You're in your overdraft and now you're getting fined by the bank. It's ridiculous. You know, what if, that last bit of money in your account, bear in mind, everyone's being pushed to the wall. Everyone's being dragged onto their knees, intentionally, of course. It's not incompetence. What if that last bit of money is that's my food shop. That's for feed my kids, mate. That's to pay the rent. Now, or at least before this, you could have an argument with HMRC if you wanted. You go, look, I ain't got the money to pay it. I've got a certain amount in my account. That's paying my mortgage. That's paying my kids' packed lunches for school or whatever. You say I owe £1,000. I don't have £1,000. So you can't have it. I can drip feed it. I can pay, 20 quid a week or something for a period of time. HMRC could set up a payment plan, whatever. You could negotiate. Not if they can just go and take it. Because the negotiation's out. It's out the window. Because as far as they're concerned, there's no need for a negotiation. Why is there? We'll just go and take it. Honestly. HMRC will compel banks to pay the tax man directly from a debtor's account if they've repeatedly refused to pay the tax bill worth £1,000 or more. And then, to be fair, the article says, in a draconian move from the Labour Party. How many draconian moves have they got? The new HMRC powers include funds held in cash ISAs too, so your savings. So, they don't want people having savings, because savings are freedom, aren't they? Savings stop you being dependent on the state, because if something goes wrong, you go, oh, that's all right, I've got savings. Or, oh, I kind of want to quit my job. I hate my job. I hate it. I've always wanted to do this and that. I've always wanted to write a novel. I know I've got a novel in me. Everyone has, they say. I want to go back to night school and study to be whatever, because I've always wanted to be a firefighter, right? Sod it, I'm doing it. Life's too short. I can rely on those savings. Those savings will keep me alive for a year while I get that qualification to go and do something I want with my life. Well, they don't want you doing that. They want you dependent on the state. And the other part of it as well, what if you're withholding, which we all should anyway, withholding tax for a legitimate reason? I've made this point a few times. If someone walked in now, in here, interrupted the show, oh mate, I'm filming, and asked me for, 500 quid, I don't know how much a gun costs, I'm not into guns, but say 500 quid for a gun, right? You couldn't give us 500 quid, could you? What do you want it for? No. But I know what he wants it for. He wants it for a gun, because he's been talking about all the time. He's gonna sort this guy out. He's got an issue with at work, right? So I give him 500 quid, knowing that he's going to buy a gun. He goes and buys that gun. He shoots the guy at work. The guy's dead. I'm complicit in that, and in the eyes of the law, I would be complicit in that. You knew what he was using it for. You've handed him money to go and purchase a lethal weapon that he's gone to kill someone. You're involved, dude, and I would go to prison for that. So why then am I expected to hand my money, which is nothing to do with the state, hand my money to the state knowing that it's going to go and give it to Volodymyr Zelensky to shoot at people. It's going to go and use it to fund the military industrial complex to go and bomb wherever we're going to bomb next, or go and, send RAF jets up into the air to provide intelligence for Benjamin Netanyahu so he can blow children to pieces. Why should my money pay for that? In theory, I'm guilty then. I'm complicit. So what if I'm saying I don't want to pay it for a real legitimate reason, which is actually I don't really want to buy guns and bombs that kill people? Sounds like a pretty good reason to withhold it to me. But you can't even have that negotiation now. I've interviewed people on my show that are doing exactly that, and they're going back and forth with HMRC, and HMRC can't do anything about it because they make a valid point. Well, it don't matter now. They're just going to take it out of your account. And if they're doing this now, imagine what they'll be able to do once everyone's connected into digital ID, where they can just erase you. Not the pop band. They can erase you from society. As they did in COVID. Let's have it right. I hate the word COVID. It's such an annoying word, isn't it? I think it's purposely annoying. The vid. Anyway, that's all for this section on YouTube and X and Facebook and Spotify and wherever else it is. I can't really remember off the top of my head. If you head over to iconic.com now, you can carry on watching. The link, the direct link to the rest of the episode, for free, by the way, is in the description below. And we have got a win in the next story, so that's good news.